I want to ask you how you got to the project, this book project that you're working on that we've been talking about. But could you begin sort of in the broadest strokes with your understanding of modernity in a nutshell? What do we mean when we say that we're modern people? I mean, I'm a modern girl living in a material world. Is that Cyndi Lauper? I was hoping you could talk about that song.
I never thought of you that way.
Exactly. What is modernity, Paul?
Well, it's a problematic word. I found it problematic. People use it in a lot of different ways. But I think in the way that you mean it and the way that it comes into the material that I've been working on, is it represents a break from what you might call the pre-modern world. So the pre-modern world was this world that Charles Taylor speaks of as being spirit infested. He describes us as being porous, as being vulnerable to that spiritual world. We saw ourselves in terms of the spiritual world, whether in society or whether in relationship to the cosmos. And the break with that pre-modern world, the word that Charles Taylor uses to describe it, he's got a lot of words to describe it, but he refers to it as going from porous to buffered. And the notion of being buffered is we realized that we were an autonomous self. We were a self that had control over ourselves. We weren't vulnerable to the spirit world. And it was a time of, you might call it disenchantment, although the problem with disenchantment is it's a misused word. People use it to mean suddenly we eliminated religion, but that's not really what happened. We eliminated the sense of the world being infested with spirits. Christianity, in fact, survived that initial round of the break with that world, as we see with people like Francis Bacon and Descartes and others, early scientists who continued to be Christian in their beliefs, but they had broken with this spiritual past. Once that break occurred, Once that break occurred, then we began to start thinking as humans in a different way in terms of ourselves, who we are as individuals, and how we relate to the cosmos. Ultimately, that led to the scientific revolution. It led to the Enlightenment. And it's easy to confuse, I think, modernity with the Enlightenment, but modernity really means more than the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment was a specific period in time. When we use the word modernity, we're talking about that whole process of breaking with the pre-modern world and becoming more and more, quote, modern. And of course, then you get into postmodern, which is an ugly word. So I don't want to go there. But
not yet.
But just in general, I think modernity is a reference to the process in the Western world where we broke from the pre-modern spirit-infested past and we became buffered from that past. We became more self-sufficient individuals.
Yeah.